Kamal sir, will it be okay if we can just wait for 2 minutes more and then
Yes,
start
yes,
at the
yes.
right time, sir?
Yes,
Better.
yes, sir.
So we'll start in 2 minutes, but we can start adding the participants because it will
Please,
take some
please,
time.
please. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Please go ahead.
Hi,
Admin
Santosh
may
sir.
allow the
Hi,
entry of
good
the
afternoon,
participants
everyone.
also.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Santosh.
Hi.
Admin may please allow the entry of the participant and start the YouTube and the Zoom recording, whatever is required.
Record is done, sir.
Okay. It's 4 o'clock.
Yeah, Rishma. Yeah, now we should start, Rishma. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good evening and a very warm welcome to the day 4 of CPP 2025. It has been an exciting journey since the last 3 weeks when all of you in the audience have been so interactive with us and sharing your questions and trying to learn more from the stalwarts of pharmacology, especially from the industry. Last week, we learned about medical writing. We also learned about how to translate academic knowledge into industry practice. And this week, we have something more exciting again. We have AI and machine learning in pharma industry and RWE glimpses. I'm sure some of you are still wondering what is RWE. So we have a prominent speaker in the industry, Dr. Amay Mane, who's going to actually take us through this. And I will leave it up to Sir to take over the part of the full form of RWE and what does it mean and what is the significance of RWE in the industry. And the second part of today is the second session, which again is equally important, that is personal branding and networking in the pharma industry. And to take this session is Dr. Santosh Taur, who's going to teach us and help us understand how important it is to our personal branding in the industry by itself. So to begin, let me first introduce our moderators for the first session. I'm sharing my slide. Yes, our first moderator for today, Dr. Jyoti Kaushal. Ma'am is the senior professor and head of Department of Pharmacology at Postgraduate Institute of Medical Sciences, Rohtak. Ma'am has a teaching experience of 34 years, including 28 years as PG teacher. She's received the Best Teacher Award in 2007, 2020, 2023, and 2025 at PGIMS Rohtak. So who other than her will be most suitable for today's session? So publication-wise, ma'am has 99 publications under her name, international 48 and 51 national publications. Ma'am is the Dean Faculty for Pharmaceutical Sciences, Chairperson of the PG Board of Studies in Pharmacology, UHS Rohtak, Chairperson IAEC PTBD Sharma PGIMS from 2017 to 2021. Ma'am is also the coordinator for Pharmacovigilance Program of India, the coordinator for the Medical Device Monitoring Center, and has been awarded the Fellow of International Medical Sciences Academy by IMSA on the 21st of April, 2020. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. We are very happy that you're here with us.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Reshma.
Next, I would like to introduce our second moderator for today from the industry, Dr. Chaitanya Bargave, who is the Director, Clinical Research Physician at Eli Lilly Private Limited, Bengaluru. Dr. Chaitanya has nearly 17 years of experience under his belt in the senior roles at various foreign and Indian MNCs, including Lupin, Merck, GSK Global, Pharma, and Eli Lilly. He has led diverse therapy areas in medical affairs and clinical development and research, which included global flagship portfolios of Merck Vitamins Allergy, GSK Respiratory and Allergy, Sun Ophthalm Respiratory and Urology. Dr. Chaitanya has authored multiple publications and posters at Indian congresses. He's been a teacher at the start of his career, which shows how relevant Dr. Chaitanya is to today's program, where he carries this experience of his very proudly. Dr. Chaitanya's area of interest are real world data gaps and aligned evidence generation. A very warm welcome to you, Dr. Chaitanya. We are so happy to have you with us today.
Thank you, Reshma. Thank you for those kind words. Thanks.
Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to hand over to the moderators to introduce our speaker and the session.
Thanks, Reshma. I think it's me doing the job, right?
Yes, Dr. Chaitanya.
Okay, thank you. So I think I take no better pleasure than introducing Dr. Ameya Mane here, who has been my dear friend and a senior. So I think he is quite well known in the industry, and I don't think that my job is quite easy here. I wouldn't be spending much words here because already many of us all know him. He has been a stalwart in the field of medical affairs in the Indian pharma for so long now. But just let's do our job and do the justice. So Dr. Ameya Mane is a pharmaceutical physician with more than 19 years of experience in medical affairs. You can see the domains here: medical affairs, clinical research, real world evidence, ideation, digital strategy, medical writing, and pharmacovigilance. So, very well balanced kind of performance over all the domains. So, he has been an MBBS and MD pharmacology from LTMC and TNMC, Mumbai University, and a number of publications. If you see, these are quite impressive, more than 75 publication and 200 research paper presentations at national and international conferences. I'm very happy to tell you here that I have helped him in some of the publications and presentation in some of the congresses. So, and he is privileged to lead high performing teams across various domains. That is for sure because he is already leading really good teams, and he is actually kind of a mentor and a champion of people of his teams all across. Uh, the last one, I think it's highly relevant to the industry. If you can just see the numbers here, he has got 50 plus new drug approvals across therapy areas like oncology, metabolics, cardiovascular, gastro, rheumat, neurology, dermatology, primary care, and vaccine. And I think we haven't left any area here. So it's you can see so many of therapy areas that he has covered, and there are new drugs all across. So a very great contribution to the pharma as well as Indian pharmacology group, I would say. And with that, I will take a pause here and I forward the session to Dr. Ramya Mani.
Thank you so much, Chaitanya, for those kind words. And I would say it's an honor and privilege to be on this platform, the CPP workshop. I would really like to thank Dr. Jitendra Singh sir and Dr. Kamal sir, Dr. Reshma. And I'm fortunate that my moderators like Dr. Jyoti ma'am and Chaitanya, who has been my great friend, they're all here. And I know my job is cut out. I have time on hand for this presentation. So without further ado, I'll share my screen and I'll start the presentation. I hope I do the justice to the topic. As every speaker must say that this is a very vast topic. I would also say that, so that makes everyone understand that this is difficult to capture it in next 30 minutes or so. I hope my screen is visible.
It's visible.
Okay, great. So disclaimer, these are my personal views only. And I would start with literature, because I think that is very relevant over here. AI is buzzword. If we don't talk artificial intelligence once in a day, I feel kind of left out. So this is something which I have picked up from Charles Dickens' Tale of Two Cities. This is the first paragraph, always kind of mesmerizes me, but this really captures the essence very well. It was the best of the times, it was the worst of the times. It was the age of the wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. Why so? Generative AI. Now, the next leg of AI has taken over, and we see it around us in every domain of our life. Of course, today we are going to talk more from the pharma industry and healthcare perspective, but I'm just sharing my screen over here to show you that what were the trends of the generative AI from the latest HBR presentation. And you can see, interestingly, 2025, the number one trend. It's something which I think I got surprised when I saw that, is therapy and companionship. We generally talk about AI being machines and pre-trained transformers now, but people are leveraging it across different domains of their life. You can see the second one is organizing a life, finding purpose, which clearly tells us that people are not using AI only for what we felt in terms of the improving efficiencies and output. People are leveraging AI for multiple things which some of us would not have even imagined. And as I said, this is just the start. We really will look forward to what is there for us in the store. But something which I'm sure all of us always get concerned about, and there is always this whisper that AI is gonna replace most of the jobs. But I'm sure as some of us can understand that it is not gonna be the AI which will replace the humans. It is humans who leverage AI probably will replace humans who don't leverage AI. That is how it's gonna be. So, how it is relevant to the pharma industry? It is part of our day-to-day life. Likewise, it is also part of the entire, right from the drug discovery to medical affairs, which has life cycle management and the pharmacovigilance. Over here, you can see our understanding of diseases with multiple omics, proteomics, transcriptomics, genomics. It is getting better with the use of AI. We are able to identify better targets and then take them as leads and pursue their clinical development, of course, with the preclinical development in between, and then getting them faster into the market. Now, that is something where we see a very live example. This month's Lancet Oncology, in fact, had this article, The Cancer Drug Discovery Can AI Deliver? And I have highlighted a text box. They have given an example of a drug, BBO 10203. This is first of its kind drug. It is first in class oral drug, and it has been designed and tested in the record time with help of AI. Generally, the development time, as we all know, is in decades. This particular drug has reached the human development in 6 years' time. Now, that is something which shows a very positive side of how AI can be leveraged for drug discovery, and this is something which is as latest as August 2025. And then there are multiple things. This particular drug discovery was a result of partnership between National Cancer Institute and a private biopharmaceutical company. Clearly shows that how AI is getting into that space where different stakeholders are collaborating for the greater good. Now, the different AI tools which can be also used for clinical trials. Um, Most of us are aware that clinical trials is a very costly affair. The cost of drug development is huge. AI is again at every step, right from the study setup, which has the protocol design and the electronic CRF, to the trial design. what can be the sites. There are now platforms which can give us the appropriate sites which can help for the faster and better recruitment. It can also give us an understanding of what's the inventory. We are now into an era of biologicals. Drugs are no more only the conventional chemical drugs, but they are getting complex. With that, of course, their transport, example in cold chain or maybe other specialized transport mechanisms, it is important that the inventory also is being managed very, very efficiently. Patient enrollment, of course, reaching out to larger people number can be helpful through AI. Then, of course, the data analysis and the faster regulatory submissions. It is getting integrated into the healthcare. I have just taken screenshots of a few relevant articles. The first one on the left side, you can see, is how AI can be leveraged to predict mortality in acute coronary syndromes. This is from a European Heart Journal, how they are getting into the risk stratification through the ECG risk and then bio-personalized risk. On the right side, you can see an article from Frontiers in Digital Health, which talks about how AI can be helpful for positive mental health. An article from India which talks about the SWOT analysis of how AI can be leveraged in diabetes mellitus. So, which is very evident that it is getting into the different aspects, different domains of healthcare, and of course, it is helping us to recruit patients more in more numbers, faster, better. At the same time, it is also playing big role in the actual clinical care, as you can see from these different variety of articles. Where it will be helpful in pharmacovigilance, again, at every step of pharmacovigilance, because wherever there is digital, AI obviously is integral part of that, right from risk management to data entry to signal detection. The large amount of literature search can happen much faster and better with AI. There are different examples of how AI is being leveraged in diagnostics. You can see the query, which is for the radiology, the path AI, which is for the pathology for cancer detection. You can also see for the diabetes retinopathy screening, an FDA approved tool of IDXDR. Then the COINAPS, which is for the neurodegenerative diseases. So it is getting into this space of diagnostics also significantly, including even dermatology, where people can actually just scan their images and the AI can give a probable solution. But of course, all of this will have human in loop, and that is something which will take care of some of the concerns we have for AI. AI in medical affairs, this can be leveraged again across different verticals in medical affairs. When we say disease specific or disease forward window, it can help us understand the disease trends, the treatment patterns, the different impacts of the strategies. It can also help in terms of building the capabilities of the stakeholders, including the medical team members and the other stakeholders in the healthcare. It can also be helpful for helping in terms of the patient centric communications, improving the awareness of diseases. Something which immediately comes to my mind is how AI is being leveraged to use it into the local languages to reach out to more number of people for the disease awareness. So again, in medical affairs, it can be leveraged across different domains, and where it can be enhanced, the AI will help right from the R&D to the internal training to the healthcare practitioner education, which I say is from the capability building, building the key opinion leader and patient advocacy group trust, and supporting the medical information queries and adverse event processing. Omni-channel is something we nowadays we all, I mean most of us again, they order from different delivery platforms. Likewise, for healthcare, also there are multiple omni channels which are there, and again, in that, the AI can help for tailoring the content, the language accessibility, and again, customizing some of these inputs. Very important piece which should not be ignored is the ethics and regulations. It should not happen again. Taking a reference of one of classics, it should not become a Frankenstein. So it is very important that the ethics and regulations for AI need to be considered. And then there are different frameworks which are there. What are the potential risks of AI, especially when we look at the generative AI? Discrimination very much is a big risk. Misinformation, misuse of that, the whole challenge about the privacy, the safety, the accountability, the governance, and the transparency. These are major risks for AI, which we need to understand and consider, because these are certain things which are important from how the general people will be using the AI and when it is being used for their betterment. These are the downsides which the regulators and the important stakeholders in healthcare need to be aware of. World Health Organization has this AI for H, which is artificial intelligence for health, and they have three pillars. The enable pillar talks about the standards, the governance, the policies, and guidance. The facilitate pillar talks about how the WHO can play a role by getting into pool investment and building a global community of experts, and in implementing how they can implement sustainable models of AI programs at the country levels. At the same time, they also highlight both benefits and risk. I have taken one example from another document of WHO. Here they talk about how AI, in terms of scientific research and drug development, what can be the benefits and what are potential risks. In benefits, you can see can generate insight from large amount of scientific data, again generate text for use in scientific articles, the peer reviews. It can analyze the data, it can proofread, and at the same time, as we saw in the BP 10203 example of oncology, it can actually also help in the de novo drug design. But what are the risks which the WHO document highlights? Algorithms can't be held responsible or accountable. It's ultimately gonna be the humans in loop, and that is something which should not be forgotten. They may have bias towards perspectives of especially the economically affluent categories, the countries, the group of people can generate information which may not exist. Uh, I mean, one example which we see when anything we search on the search engine, the first searches we are now getting is the cumulative summary from the AI engines. And sometimes when we go to look for the references, they may be coming from not so valid reference sources. And we all know the risks of the algorithms or any AI apps hallucination. That is something which is very, very important. It can undermine a key tenet like peer review, where humans bring in that perspective which AI may not be able to bring in. And again, it can have a differential access basis the capacities of the people to pay. And again, that can at times may not be so democratic for the knowledge perspective. But the ICMR in the 2023 guidelines of theirs for biomedical research and healthcare have highlighted 10 ethical principles of medical AI. And as we can see, it starts with autonomy, collaboration, risk minimization, and safety. Very important is accessibility and equity, optimization and data quality. Fairness is a very strong principle, the validity of the data, the trustworthiness, very, very important, from which source the AI has come up. It's very, very important. Accountability and liability. This is so very important in today's era where we don't see people when even we book our cabs and all, and when something goes wrong, we just get diverted to the artificial intelligent chatbots or those typical phone lines that our customer executives are busy. Please hold. Now, that is something which again is very important, that accountability and liability has to be there, and the data privacy, it's very, very important. So, these are the 10 ethical principles which ICMR has highlighted in their guideline. The now shifting the gears and talking about the real world evidence, and where the medical advisors can play a role in this particular space. And this is one busy slide, but as you can see, the real world evidence can play a big role across different domains of the product life cycle, right from in the development perspective. The teams can in fact identify the high risk populations and how their current treatments in terms of efficacy and safety are panning out, and they can plan in fact the real world evidence experiments for that. One of the great examples during the COVID was drug repurposing, and again, some of it also had an element of real world evidence. One example you can see over here is that how FDA has approved myozyme, an enzyme for infantile onset Pompe disease, and how it came from a single arm study through a retrospective medical chart review. Then also, as you can see, one of the product for spinal muscular atrophy has been asked to conduct a real world registry to understand the long term benefits of the drug. The Institute for Clinical and Economic Review uses real world evidence for updating their cost effectiveness. A couple of examples for how FDA has in fact used the real world evidence. One of the example is tacrolimus, where it was approved for the lung transplant on the basis of real world evidence data. Another example is palbociclib, that how it was approved for the metastatic breast cancer in males on the basis of the real world data. Where exactly the medical affairs will play a role, very important, since this is part of life cycle management. Medical affairs will champion the use of real world evidence, but no compromise in terms of quality. So ensuring quality standards, collaborative engagement, real world evidence. Here the scale is quite big. So you need to collaborate with internal and external stakeholders at a very different level for the effective real world evidence data. And it has to be part of strategic integration. We'll see in one of the subsequent slide the integrated evidence generation program and how important it is when it has to be conceptualized right the drug when the drug is being developed. And of course, some of the skills, as I know that this particular group is in fact now with those which are currently doing their MD Pharmac or DM Pharmac and are also getting into the skill building. So the different skills which would be required as we go further. This is one of the snapshot from a vision document for 2030, and it is very important that how the analytics will be very crucial to accelerate the impact, and different type of metrics, right from the physician level to the patient to the user level metrics. This will be carrying significant importance in terms of the strategies. This is something where the data and analytics, which will be a feedback loop. So it's not going to be just the single linear kind of a process. This is going to come back to the stakeholders. And especially when we talk about the medical affairs and the clinical research, it's going to come back that how the strategies are being leveraged, how the data, existing data, which is currently being used for improving the patient outcomes, how it is impacting the daily operations, and how it is helping in terms of the access, the efficiencies, and how insights are getting better. That is all going to be very, very important as we leverage this artificial intelligence with the data analytics. This was the slide I was talking about, the integrated evidence generation plan, that how right at the time of the drug development, the different stakeholders need to come together, give those cross-functional inputs, add from also if required from the different geographies. We also understand that at times drugs may have different impact in terms of ethnicity. Then again, to have that global lens can also be very, very helpful. The data back prioritization for the evidence needs is very, very critical for this integrated evidence generation plan, comprehensive evaluation of study types, and standardized approach across the life cycle. These are important things, and they all will utilize this artificial intelligence in terms of the advanced data methodologies. Orchestrating the medical engagement from the data lens, from the insight lens, from the channel lens, and from the contact lens. It is very important that the content has to reach in terms of to the right physicians. It has to be the right content in the right channel and at the right time. I understand currently we are having, in fact, a data deluge. There is so much of information, and there is also a risk that how much of it is the correct information and how much of it is misinformation, and in fact, how much of it is a disinformation. Now, that is something where AI will bring in the same challenge, but even the solution is also expected from AI, that how it will play a role in identifying the information which is credible, valid for the end users. So that is something which I just wanted to touch upon. I know I have taken longer time, but I want to thank you, all of you, for your patient listening. And I would also like to thank my team for helping me for this presentation. Especially, I would like to thank Dr. Vishal Singh, who is the lead RMA, to help me in this presentation. With that, thank you so much, and over to the moderators.
Thank you, Dr. Amir. Thanks for this very impressive presentations and the slides. I can say confidently, these are really great slides, and the examples that you have quoted are quite apt. With that, I guess we are seeing our chat box. There are some questions that has already started coming in. I'm not sure, Dr. Kaushal, ma'am, how do you want to take it? You want to take a lead on that one?
So first of all, thanks, Dr. Amir, for beautiful presentation. So it's very interesting topic. So we can take the questions now. I think Dr. Chaitanya can start with then I can take a later. Or should I start? So whatever you say, sir.
Dr. Kaushal, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay. So first question in the chat box is, Dr. Amog has posted that what learning steps as MD students should take to keep up with AI in industry. So that's the first question, sir.
Thanks, ma'am, for that. And what I would suggest is please keep yourself updated with the AI articles which come up in the medical journals. It's very important because, as I said, the big risk with AI is there is so much of information available that you need to really differentiate in terms of what is the right information and what is not so right information. In fact, you will see JAMA has regular in their periodic, they have a regular segment for AI. Likewise, you can in fact go to PubMed and put the alerts for artificial intelligence, especially if you have certain therapy areas of interest, you can in fact put it over there. If you want it from a broader domain like artificial intelligence in clinical research, artificial intelligence in pharmacovigilance, or in medical writing, in medical affairs, you can in fact put those alerts into PubMeds, into Google Scholars, and from that you can get the updated articles. And at the same time, also keep searching for these landmark journals like JAMA, NEJM, BMJ, they have these AI segments specifically. There are certain journals dedicated for artificial intelligence and digital health. Like one example I showed was Frontiers in Digital Health. I kind of keep myself updated with these journals. I regularly view their content and what are the latest articles which are coming up. I kind of use that for improving my knowledge and also in terms of efficiencies. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Amir. So next question is that from one Dr. Ria, is that is related to the level of evidence. Typically, when we talk about this hierarchy, we place meta-analysis of RCTs and RCTs at the top. Where is this pyramid? Where in this pyramid would real-world evidence fall?
Sure. That's a. I mean, I know this is going to sound cliche. That is really a good question.
Yeah.
Real world evidence per se, when we look at this, and that is something where we need broader discussion, is that real world evidence is complementary to randomized control trials. They have different approaches. Now, in terms of the whole hierarchical evidence, real world evidence per se has not been put either at the top of the pyramid or at the bottom of the pyramid. But if you ask me, I'll put it right, I'll place it right beside the randomized control trials, because these two are not mutually exclusive. These two are complementary. Randomized control trials will help us in the drug development section when the drug is being developed, right from the early development to the late development. Real world evidence will bring in the data, which actually, as the name talks about, the real world, it's going to come from large number of patients. In the clinical trials, we use largely a homogeneous population with large number of inclusion and exclusion criteria, because the objective, of course, is to understand how drug is behaving in this population. But the real world evidence brings in that knowledge where the drug is now available in the clinical spectrum and is being used across by the healthcare practitioners, and what are the data insight which are coming from there. So if I have to just answer it in one line, I'll place it right by the side of randomized control trial.
Yeah, they are complementary. They cannot replace, real world evidence cannot really replace the
Yes.
randomized control trial. They go hand in hand. I understand. One more question is there. How AI can be safely and ethically used in clinical research and drug development? Because there are concerns for privacy and confidentiality of data. What is the impact of using AI in silico studies and in the preclinical studies?
Absolutely. So that is something which even I highlighted in my presentation. That is the risk which is currently being flagged, and very rightly so. And it's not only in terms of clinical research, across the various domains, AI is playing a big role. The biggest risk which is coming across is privacy. The another risk which is also we spoke about is around the credibility of the information, and that exactly is also applicable for the clinical research. Now, when we talk about the algorithms and how algorithms are gonna segregate, one example is which I showed, to improve the efficiencies of the clinical trial. AI can help in terms of the site suggestions and faster patient recruitment. But at times the risk can also be these algorithms can have a bias for a certain ethnicity and or for a certain geography. So the algorithms will have to have that kind of a validation, which is from different stakeholders, which also represent the different social strata and the different identities. This is very, very important, because then only it will be holistic and all inclusive. Otherwise, it may remain restricted to a particular group, and it may have that bias. An algorithm may, in fact, for example, in this particular type of algorithm, which suggests the faster patient enrollment and catches the data from different databases, this algorithm may, in fact, exclude certain type of patients because of the bias it inherently has. But during the development of this AI algorithm, if the developers are from the different diverse backgrounds, and they are also getting it validated with different people, right, from different geographies and different identities, this will become more robust and will try to be minimizing that risk of bias as much as possible. Yeah. In terms of the preclinical and in silico. In silico, AI is really a boon, as we saw in the BB 10203 example. Uh, for in silico, because we know combinatorial chemistry can throw out thousands or millions of permutations, combinations of different targets. But the AI, in fact, looking into the structure activity relationship and the precedence of that particular class, can in fact suggest the likely candidates which can be successful in the drug development. So that can be taken up in silico. Likewise, in preclinical, we know it's very important in preclinical, the 3 Rs, and AI will again help over there because the simulation will help in terms of, in fact, replicating the data which is there. The drug regulatories across the world, including the Indian drug regulatory, are open for this kind of preclinical dossier submissions, where this is being leveraged so that we actually follow the principles of 3R. So these are some of those things by which we can leverage AI. Yeah.
So,
So,
Ameya, I just want to add it here. So, there are real dangers of, the data privacy theft or data breach here that industry acknowledges, and there are safeguards built in the system because there is a basic presumption is that AI, the particular AI model that we are using has to be validated, and that AI model has already been trained on the data sets. So if an enterprise is training the model on its internal data sets, so obviously there are less chances of data theft or a data breach, what we can say. But if it has been a vendor source model or a public source model, then there are real chances that the data can be shared elsewhere. And obviously, you have to build those safeguards accordingly. I'm talking from a very practical point and
Yeah.
practical perspective because these are real-time questions that industry is trying to answer at the moment. And in case of in silico and preclinical, there are less chances, or I would say less risks here from a governance point of view, simply because we are working on PKPD models and the data is coming through maybe some animal preclinical toxicology data, or those data sets obviously are non-human data sets. So there are less chances that there will be any litigation or any chances or any contention of losing that data outside. But nonetheless, from an IP perspective, intellectual property perspective, all these data sets and all that what the industry does with it, maybe the investigations, the extrapolations, and the analysis, they are still highly confidential, and for that you have to build a safeguard or ring fencing of the data as much as possible. So that stays with us. So in with all these context that you have to use the AI in that perspective, in that frame. So AI is something outwardly it looks like it's a very broader term, but then there are different types of AI as well. So generative AI, agentic AI, then large language models. So and obviously each individual AI model has an individual place to work. So it's not that it will be only used for research purposes and that the same will be used in the pharmacovigilance database. It's not the same. So sometimes the AI is used only to analyze the data. Sometimes the AI is used for exploratory data as well. So these are two cents from my side. Thank you.
one more question from Dr. Sajan. Can AI have a role in pharmacogenomics and personalized medicine?
Absolutely. And that is what I kind of highlighted in terms of the drug discovery. And also, this is something where we know that all this whole pharmacogenomics, the AI will be able to help us in terms of identifying those populations also. What currently we do in a conventional manner, AI will be able to do it at much, I would say, larger, on a much larger scale. And it will also help identify the subsets, as we keep saying, the ultra rapid metabolizers to the poor metabolizers. AI is definitely going to help us to identify this is the suggested drug development, and if that particular drug, because of either its structure activity relationship or because of the class which it belongs to or because of the certain precedents, may have a certain variance in these kind of patient populations. Personalized medicine, very much, because as we see now, the whole era is shifting to that with the whole human genome project. And now in India, also we have the Indian Genome Project, which is giving us so much understanding about the genomes. And this is where the different targets are being identified. And AI will again help us to understand how these targets and which of these targets would be the optimum targets and how we'll be able to leverage them for the better patient outcome. Yeah.
Second part of the question is, are there any jobs for MD pharmacologists in this domain?
I mean, I would say absolutely. So what I would say is currently in terms of the AI, AI is, as I said, is integrated into our lives. Likewise, it is integrated into the pharmaceutical industry as well. The pharmaceutical industry looks forward to the digital strategy, and AI is a pillar of that. And that is where the MD pharmacology, as I showed, right from the clinical research, medical affairs, pharmacovigilance, medical writing, will be able to play a role over here. And those pharmacologists, MD pharmacologists who have a better understanding of AI would be definitely ahead of the curve, and they will be preferred, especially in those kind of setups where the AI is going to play a big role. We see now the healthcare stakeholders also are getting into a different domains. There are many companies which are getting into healthcare because of big data, and who knows, 1 decade down the line, which will be the top healthcare organizations. So MD pharmacology will continue to play a role over here, and as I said, those who leverage AI will definitely stay ahead compared to those who do not.
One question for myself, Dr. Amir. How can regulators and pharma collaborate to create trustworthy AI frameworks for real-world evidence data? How can they collaborate for real-world evidence use? So, how they should collaborate, regulators and pharma, to have a trustworthy data? So, exactly.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. And as Chaitanya said, that from the pharma perspective, the most important thing is how those safeguards are being built. And as you will see now, there are examples like FDA is also now approving software as medical device (SAMD), where the pharma submit the dossier for a particular AI app and all, and it can be at times for a diagnostic purpose. Like one example we saw was diabetic retinopathy, that how just through the simple app, the primary care physicians also can maybe understand more about diabetic retinopathy in terms of the patient screening. Likewise, for the real world evidence, when, for example, it comes from different data sets, example, it is coming from a particular insurance data set, or it is coming from a large hospital data set, then what are those safeguards which have been built by the developer in terms of the identification of the whole challenges in terms of privacy? So how the data is being kept anonymized, how the identity is not being disclosed, and how the data is aggregate, and how the analysis will be done, but there will be no disclosure of the identity of the patients. All these safeguards, when they are being built by that developer, the regulators here can play a role and understand from that, and actually have the use cases where they see that how, when the data is coming, whatever the developers are saying, is it really actually happening in that real-time dynamics? And this is how they can collaborate. And at the same time, I think those lot of brainstorming workshops together between the developers and the regulators right at the conceptual stage can help, because it should not happen that they go into a very different tangents. It should be something which ultimately the objective is to improve the patient outcomes. So how, when developers are developing something, regulators also are letting them know that these are the do's and these are don'ts. So please do not get into don'ts, because we have concerns about it. So that, I think, can start right at the conceptual stage, but at every stage of that maybe AI app or anything platform being developed, regulators can continue to play that role of vigilance. Yeah.
I would like to intervene for a second. This is for the audience. The audience can ask your questions directly also. You can raise your hand, our tech team, and with the permission of the moderators, we will help unmute you, and then you can ask your questions. Okay, please continue.
Okay, one more question is there. Looking ahead 10 years, what areas of pharma do you expect AI plus real world evidence to have the maximum impact? Either it's drug discovery or clinical trials or post-marketing surveillance.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
there is. So I do not have a crystal ball to predict the future, but I mean I would just say that all of them, because ultimately, right from the drug discovery, as we saw the examples, to the medical affairs, to the real world evidence, AI is disrupting everywhere. So when we look at say 10 years from now, it is going to play a big role in each of these segment clinical trials, because ultimately more efficient they'll become, faster they'll be conducted at a lower cost. It's going to ultimately help getting the newer drugs in terms of improving their access in the market much earlier. So I see all of these domains getting benefited from AI. Yeah, but ma'am, as you rightly put it, it will be very important that also, and Chaitanya also added that it will be also important to build parallelly the safeguards so that the trust is being built, and those who are end users are also trusting all these AI applications.
Thanks, Dr. Amin. Over to Dr. Chaitanya. Dr. Chaitanya, so you can continue, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I think many of the things have already been discussed. I think it's been a very fair way to say that we have tried to cover AI and its practical usage here in the industry as much as possible. So, Amaya, I would like for the because this is a crowd of the young minds, the impressionable minds here. So maybe on the positive side. I guess we should be emphasizing on, the very effective use of AI in some of the drug approvals or some of the database usages, whatever it is. What I'm trying to say here is if we can mention some bright examples, that would be good. I think you have already shown some
Yeah.
of them in your slides, but what do you, maybe in your experience, what do you think would be the most impressive example of use of AI in pharmacology or in healthcare practice?
Yeah. So there are. I mean, I may say that there are multiple examples, but at the same time, we know AI doesn't act solely. AI is integrated into say drug discovery or clinical trials. So per se, I would not highlight any particular drug for that. But again, I'll go back to BB 10203. This is a first-in-class oral drug which acts on two targets, and this particular discovery was challenging because all the earlier drugs in this particular class, they were having a challenge of safety, but with AI the researchers were able to identify this particular product which is supposed to be safe, because of course it is still in the development stage. But I would say this is a very bright example which the Lancet Oncology published of how AI, because it curtailed the entire development time, right from the in silico to the preclinical and coming to the first in human. It curtailed that time by significant amount of years, and that I would say is a very bright example. One example which we saw FDA approving, not per se AI, but I would say real world evidence, was the tacrolimus for the renal transplant, for the lung transplant, how they kind of leverage that data. So there are variety of examples which are there in terms of the new drug approvals, both through the AI and also leveraging the real world evidence for indication expansions.
Thank you, Amir. Thank you. I think these are real good examples. Yes, I agree with you. And to the crowd, I would just like to say that yes, AI is there. AI is here to stay. And I think what Amir has already mentioned in his talk while starting, that it won't be AI that will replace humans, but it will be the humans who know the AI will replace the humans who don't know the AI. Okay, so that stays with us, and I guess as I think you're starting your career, and I think you're still in an academic curve phase. I think this is the right time to embrace and embed AI in your day-to-day activities. Except what we are using for Chat GPT is not something that the AI is most effective. AI can be effective in other areas too. So I guess I suggest you to explore the multiple uses of AI in different spheres here, even in your educational sphere, and obviously once you go there, the acquiring industry skills, soft skills, everywhere. So that's from my side. I guess I just want to just hand over the
All right.
session to Dr. Kaushal and Dr. Singh. If anybody has more questions, thank you.
Yeah, there is one more question which has just popped up. If anybody can take that.
Yeah, so one more question is there. Given the proliferation of AI educational offerings across various platforms and institutions, an MD pharmacology student exploring a career in pharmacovigilance, which specific AI training program would provide the greatest value and applicability to this field? So, although sir, you have said very nicely regarding the pharmacovigilance, so once somebody wants to know which exactly a training program one should follow.
Yeah. So here I would, since I also come from a corporate background, I per se will not endorse a particular program, but I would just say that there are variety of programs from the premier academic institutes, both global as well as the regional. What I would just advocate is before taking up any of these AI programs, please consult your PG guide, your seniors, because we also need to understand that in the whole frenzy of AI, there would be also certain attempts which will be made to kind of exploit in terms of that. Now, when we kind of assess the MD pharmacology candidates, we per se do not mandate that they have to have a AI certificate. We just understand from them that where they are kind of coming from in terms of their understanding of the AI and how it is being leveraged. Because in terms of these courses being offered, one word of caution would be please, unless and until you get a go ahead from your teachers or the seniors or the ones who have done this course and got benefit, I would kind of say that be very very careful. At the same time, there are very premier academic universities, global ones, which offer the AI courses across the different healthcare domains. You can actually see and you can then understand which one would be beneficial for your own. Maybe if your target is to get into pharmacovigilance or into clinical research, which one can be beneficial into that. But at the same time, let me also tell you that these are kind of add-ons. They will be helpful, but they are not per se mandatory. But as Jyoti ma'am rightly pointed out at the start of the discussion, that the overall holistic understanding will be important. Continue reading about the AI in different domains, so that when actually the interaction happens in terms of interview, you'll be able to actually convey that what are your understandings of the usage of AI in various domains.
Thanks, Dr. Amir, and thanks, Dr. Chaitanya. And I would also like to say thanks to the organizing team, Dr. Kamal, Dr. Reshma, for giving this opportunity. Thanks, everyone, for this wonderful session. Thanks once again, Dr. Amir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Reshma, can I just ask only because there are 2 minutes left, if
Yes.
I can just ask? Dr. Mia, I mean, wonderful presentation, lots to be, to be learnt out of this. I just want to know one thing, like since we have, all the MD pharmacology students, we have specially designed this course for this MD pharmac people only. So can you just in few words, can you just highlight on certain skills you need to think today medical or pharma professionals should develop to effectively work alongside AI, especially in terms of students, if they want to work around AI side. So, on what skills they should focus on, basically.
So first, biggest thing would be, sir, the knowledge. the right knowledge of it. Because the whole challenge is, and as Chaitanya also pointed out, with the chat GPT and other generative AI platforms being available so easily, the downside of that also is the whole cognitive element is going down. It is becoming more a reflex to use these platforms, even at times for certain day-to-day things. Now, the biggest concern, because we are knowledge people, people expect that thing from us, and that is why the biggest skill is gonna be the knowledge of the different, even in AI or other domains. The MD pharmacology students should have that. The basic, of course, is the therapeutic knowledge. The second is the AI knowledge in terms of how AI across different domains plays a role, right from drug discovery to medical affairs to real world evidence. Another thing would be the collaboration, how they collaborate with different stakeholders. Like I'm sure when MD pharmacology students interact with their clinical counterparts, there are so many things which come up, and we understand. I mean, EGFR is one example that you really need to calculate it fast. Now there are calculators available. Likewise, if there are other potential opportunities by which that patient care can be made better, point of care kind of things, or something where which will be easily available for the clinician. MD pharmacology can work with the clinicians for that and build onto something for that. That is again something which I would say will be very, very important, both collaboration and innovation. And the fourth thing would be flexibility, agility. Things are changing at very rapid pace. It will be very important that these students need to be ready for any situation. I mean, we call it as VUCA: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And you know it better, sir. You have an RB background, so that is something which I believe they should all have. Yeah, thanks.
Right, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was such an insightful discussion. Thank you, Dr. Amay, for the wonderful presentation as well as the wonderful discussion. So before I close with a thank, I want to mention to the audience that I am very grateful and privileged that I have Dr. Amay as my mentor at my workplace as well. So on a daily basis, I get his pearls of wisdom, which you can say you don't get it in any textbook. You will not get it on any chat GPT or AI because this comes from his experience, which he's gathered over the years. So thank you very much, Dr. Amay, for guiding us today as well as guiding me over the months. Thank you. I also would like to thank our moderators, Dr. Chaitanya. Thank you for accepting our invite and also moderating the session today. I've also had a privilege to work with Dr. Chaitanya. It was very nice to see you also after a very long time. Thank you, Dr. Jyoti. Ma'am, thank you for accepting our invite and moderating the session and keeping the discussions going continuously, picking up all the students' questions and being an active moderator. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will now move on to introduce our moderators for the next session. Let me share my slide. Dr. Kiran Haridas, I'm sure some of you have met Dr. Kiran in the previous CPP program. Dr. Kiran is here with us today. He's the Senior Director, Europe and APAC, Medical and Scientific Management, Sinos Health. He's a senior pharmaceutical professional with over 17 years of experience in clinical trial management, medical affairs, medical science license, business development, senior level KOL engagements, corporate negotiations, clinical development, data analysis, pharmacovigilance across the globe, and multiple diverse therapeutic areas like oncology, neurosciences, pain, dermatology, rare diseases, rheumatology, immunology, infectious diseases, biologics, endocrinology, and biosimilars. That's a vast therapy area and knowledge gathered. So he has worked in the global and Indian pharmaceutical companies, global and Indian CROs, developed and emerging markets, both domestic and overseas. So Sir has been a pioneer in pharmaceutical world with a wide range of experience across various domains from leadership positions in medical and non-medical management. So Dr. Kiran's experience ranges from the core clinical trial management to medical affairs activities, the medical science license management, compliance, medical communications, protocol writing, business development, field force training, KOL engagement, legal compliance, regulatory submissions, and pharmacovigilance across the countries and continents. So he has also graduated his business master's degree, that is MBA, and has had multiple global certifications in managing diseases with dedication to medical marketing and clinical development. So Dr. Kiran is also a part of multiple working committees on guidelines relevant to various diseases and medications. He has had 30 plus scientific publications to his credit. He's presently in a senior leadership position in the global MNC Synos Health. A very warm welcome to you, sir. I also will now welcome our second moderator for today, Dr. Seema Gupta, who's the professor and head GMC Jammu. Ma'am has a teaching experience spanning over 25 years with more than 30 publications and 2 chapters published in renowned books. So ma'am has attended many conferences and CMEs on a national and state level as a speaker and chairperson. Ma'am has worked as a guide and co-guide for more than 15 theses of PG students in pharmacology. Dr. Seema ma'am is actively involved for the approval for the institutional research work for the last 5 years. So some of the positions, the important positions held by ma'am are Member Secretary Institutional Animal Ethics Committee at GMC Jammu. She's also the Member Institutional Ethics Committee, GMC Jammu, the member of the IEC Regional Ayurvedic Research Institute Jammu, the Chief Provost Girls Hostel at GMC Jammu. So Dr. Seema ma'am is also a member of the Indian Pharmacological Society, Indian Society for Rational Pharmacotherapeutics, and the National Association of Pharmacology and Therapeutics. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. I now hand over to the moderators to introduce the speaker for the next session.
Thank you, Reshma, for your wonderful introduction. So it's an honor to be part of NPT since its inception, and I take it a pleasure to ensure that our budding pharmacologists do get good experience and first-hand experience, in fact, from some of these stalwarts in the industry. Now, while I begin, I would also want to say that there was a wonderful presentation by Dr. Amay, who spoke about some of the great things that are happening in and around AI. I'm glad to be a moderator and not a speaker at this moment, because the next stage is something where I'm going to leave it to Dr. Taur to say or to prove how this AI is not going to take away the jobs of other MD pharmacologists. And it's you who is going to bring up that branding and the networking that takes all the students to the next level. So we have a very right person here, Dr. Taur, who is a seasoned clinical pharmacologist with multiple fellowships, CMD certifications, and also a certification in digital health. He has 16 plus years of clinical research, medical affairs, regulatory pharmacovigilance experiences, 40 plus scientific contributions, including articles, reviews, and chapters in various books. He has also been a very integral part of multiple invited talks across industry and across therapies. Many of these awards and recognitions for Dr. Taur, 2025, 2024, 21, 12, and 2011 as a best resident as well. So professionally, he has been associated with a few medical institutions like Manipal. So we now have him here to take it through us for these sessions. And, in fact, Pfizer has been one of my ex-organization as well, where I have worked quite long back. And I'm sure, your talk going ahead will bring out freshness in most of those things which we did. So to you, sir, for your further session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kiran and Dr. Seema. And it's my really privilege to be with the young minds. I always love being and interacting with all these young minds, whether it is in conferences or in medical college events, because it gives us also a different perspective, how the generations are evolving and how, because see, what I keep telling everyone is that our competition is not only with our peers. Our competition is also with the young minds who are entering the industry with lot of passion, enthusiasm, agility, tech savviness. And that's the reason if you see like my learning curve, I have to keep it up going. Otherwise, in no time, like we have seen that whatever acumen, skill set that we have developed, they will be obsolete in less than 5 years' time. So this is the reason my first and foremost suggestion, learning guidance to all of you is that never stop learning. The moment you stop learning, you stop growing. With this, I share my screen. Let me know once my slides are visible. Yep. Reshma?
Yes, it is visible.
Sup-
It's not on
Super.
PowerPoint though.
Yeah.
Uh, slide.
It's getting there. Okay. So
Yes.
before I venture into personal branding and networking in pharma, okay, I thought it would be an imperative for me to give you a glimpse of where are we as a country with regards to the global pharmaceutical market. Okay. And then we are all pharmaceutical physicians. But pharmaceutical physician is not only restricted to one function within the pharma. Okay, there are multiple domains where we can bring out a significant impact. And I'm just going to give you a quick overview, bird's eye overview of what are those different avenues. And then I'll talk about a topic which is very close to me. How do you build your personal brand and networking for growth? So within our organization, we call it net growing. Okay, your networking has to be purposeful. And then what are the tips and takeaways from my presentation? Uh, so we have known that India has been the pharmacy of the world for last many decades. But now I think it's time for us to be the pharma powerhouse for the world. Okay, from being pharmacy to the pharma powerhouse. And there was a beautiful position paper. Those who are interested can just refer to this position paper developed by OPPI and EY Parthenon. Okay, it talks about India's mission of Vikasit Bharat by 2047 and how pharma, which is one of the significant contributors to healthcare sector. If you look at overall health sector industry, okay, pharmaceutical contributes to roughly 30% of the revenue. Okay, and that talks about the significant contribution this industry has in overall healthcare sector. Okay, and this paper has given beautiful forecast. Okay, when I joined industry, that time this India pharmaceutical market was somewhere around 17 billion US dollars. Okay, and then in 23 we reached 50 billion US dollar, which includes both domestic as well as export market. By 2030, we are expected to reach 130 billion. And by 2047, okay, we have ambition of reaching almost 450 billion, which will make us one of the largest pharmaceutical market in the world, maybe just after US and China. And this is the ambition that all of us have from Indian pharmaceutical market. And this is a beautiful roadmap which talks about where we can invent. Okay. So first definitely is our innovation capability. There's a lot of innovation which happens, and that's the reason I think we have so many beautiful formulation products which are getting manufactured, generated within the country. We are becoming self-reliant with regard to active pharmaceutical ingredients as well as the key starting materials. Okay. CRDMOs, I'm not sure how many of you heard. So we know there are CROs, contract research organizations, and there are the CDMOs, contract development and manufacturing organization. When we put together these two, it becomes CRDMO, contract research development and manufacturing organization. And India, from being 3 to 4 billion CRDMO industry, which is like just around 10% of the world industry, which is currently hovering around 200 billion. We have ambition by 2030, I think we'll be reaching somewhere around 20 to 30 billion with our CRDMO structure. And we all know GCCs, Global Capability Centers. India is one of the largest with around 1,700 GCCs as on September 2024. So that's the prowess that India has already garnered, and we will continue to leverage on our capability, our qualification, our expertise. Okay, patient-centered quality standards, they underline the framework of our regulatory standards as well as our manufacturing standards. And if you see on right hand side, all these pharmaceutical innovations are complementing our big leap with regards to healthcare. And we have seen with regards to healthcare, we are becoming one of the advanced healthcare service providers. We have ambition through this PMJY to reach almost 100% universal health coverage. And this is all coming at the opportune time when we have lot of geopolitical interest, lot of policies, healthcare related, government related, which are opening up gates for India to become this powerhouse. Okay, just to give you a quick glimpse before I venture into the core topic, so that you understand what is evolving, how this industry is evolving. You see, the investment in R&D. The orange line is about the Indian headquarter pharma companies, which is currently between 6 and 7% of their total revenue, which is spent on R&D. However, the global pharma companies, they have been increasingly spending, moving from 15 to almost like 20%. Okay, so there is increasing investment in research and development by various pharma sectors, especially now biopharmaceuticals. And you'll see on the right hand side graph how these newer therapies, next generation therapies, are now becoming a bigger pie compared to your traditional or the small molecule pharmaceutical products. Okay, the largest contribution is coming from the monoclonal antibodies, which includes antibody drug conjugates, bispecific, trispecific antibodies. I think this is the future. Okay. Then we also see cell therapy, including gene therapies, DNA, RNA therapeutics, all are capturing now the space of new generation therapies. Needless to say, vaccines, we all have seen how COVID has really understruck the importance of preventive strategies. And that's the reason most of these biotherapeutics, including vaccines, are now also focusing most on prevention as well as the therapeutic part of it. Yeah. Now talking about where do we stand as pharmaceutical physicians? Okay, we as medical professionals, uh, this is very good survey, economic survey, which was done in 2023 and 24, which is not only for medical graduates, it talks across the pharmaceutical industry, which states that in India, currently we have 51% graduates who are employable by the industry, which is much better number compared to 2024, when we had only 34% graduates who were employable. That means nearly half of our young population is underprepared for the job market. While I give you very nice rosy picture about GCC, CRDMOs, which are getting central look point in the country, there are a lot of shift which is happening from global to the country, and this is not to support India. All these GCCs are supporting the world, rest of the world. Okay, while all these opportunities, the floodgates are opening for us, do we have preparedness for it? I'm not talking only in terms of the qualification, because the employability depends on your qualification, your skill sets, your capabilities and capacities. Okay. And how do we upskill ourselves? So there are many components beyond your qualification which determines your employability. Sometimes more at the fresh graduate level or entry level, sometimes it is more at the mid to senior level. And that's the reason it is very important for us to rely on these other aspects beyond your qualification. Yeah. Let me talk about recruitment dynamics, how the recruitment dynamics are happening. We all know the traditional process of applying for jobs. Either we go to job portals, there's so many job portals, I don't want to pick any one of them. Plus, every organization has its own microsite or the website. Okay. And you do see the job openings and positions posted there. So that's the traditional way of applying. The process which we see, which has evolved over last couple of decades, is the networking. And now we see that there's significant inflow of candidates which happens through this networking option, which gives you direct access to the industry professionals. Either it comes through referrals or it comes to personalized job recommendations. However, sometimes both the approaches get impacted by internal referrals, because most of the time they are internal candidates who are either elevated to the next roles, or they are candidates who are referred from another function to a specific function. But my opinion here is that you cannot just rely on either. Okay, you have to balance both the methods of your job portal application. And this will maximize the chance for the job seeker to get the opportunity in the pharmaceutical industry. Okay. So that's my first take home message, that please explore multiple channels. That's the way we talk about omni-channel engagement. Okay. You have to explore multiple channels. In short, I'll also talk about how these digital platforms such as LinkedIn and many other professional networking platforms are helping to connect with the right peers, right experts, not only for the job related queries, but that is more for learning and growth. Okay. I came across this beautiful review article wherein this Larry and group, they did a survey of around 197 pharmaceutical physicians. Okay, and this was published in Perspectives in Clinical Research in 2020, while the survey was done in 2018 and the working report was published. This survey clearly shows that uh, we have diversity with regards to uh, I said the role profiles, with regard to gender, with regard to qualification, and this field is so welcoming. And I don't want to be biased with a particular qualification. We have medically qualified colleagues, we have scientific background colleagues, we have colleagues with alternative systems, and everyone is doing so well. And the purpose of me stating this is that definitely your qualification is the most important thing. But after a certain point, it is your qualification, your expertise, and your proficiency in the domain that you are working in that determines your growth curve. Okay. You see here, this graph shows what are the preferences by this pharmaceutical physician when it comes to various portfolio. And I think this gives you a good overview about what are the different job roles. So first and foremost, we always think about medical affairs, and this is where most of the medical graduates and postgraduates they start their career with. Okay, we do have drug safety, pharmacovigilance, clinical development, clinical operations. Okay, strategic affairs. Okay, this is sometimes at the cusp of your medical or commercial roles. We do have basic research and drug discoveries. Okay, those who are interested, they sometimes do PhD and they also get roles in these functions. Regulatory affairs, commercialization, which include like marketing roles, sales roles. I've known many medical colleagues who are heading multiple functions or domains related to commercial. It could be commercial development, it could be marketing, and even could be the sales organization. Okay, then medical communication, medical writing. In some organizations, we do have medical information, preclinical, and there are many others. Okay, and this is the preference by most of the pharmaceutical physicians. So before I dwell deeper into the branding and the networking part, let's first understand. See, branding and networking will only help when you have very strong foundation as a pharmaceutical physician. So my second tip to you all is, rather than first focusing on branding and networking, I would say request you all to use your 3 years of MD pharmacology or DM clinical pharmacology to make your foundation super strong. And once you lay your foundation with concrete of your capability and skill set, then comes the next step of building that. Okay. Without this foundation, even if you build that, that is not going to be long term sustainable. It might help you in short term, but long term, that's not going to help you. So let's understand how medical affairs has evolved. I think in 1967, Upjohn Co. first coined this term medical affairs. And post that, we have seen that medical affairs becoming more specialty oriented now, because we see pharma becoming more next generation therapy focus, where we just saw shift happening towards the personalized medicine, precision medicine, okay, and moving from healthcare to life care, and also from sickness to wellness. And when this change was happening to healthcare, medical affairs was privy to all this change. We also moved from becoming purely a scientific support, almost like 5, 6 decades back, to becoming a reliable partner in early 2000, to becoming a strategic partner, because we are no more enabling or supporting function. Now, medical affairs is a strategic function in the organization. And now I think we are seeing a significant shift where medical is leading some of these conversations also. Yeah. And what is needed here? As I mentioned, medical affairs is one of the core strategic pillars in the pharmaceutical organization, shoulder to shoulder with our R&D and commercial and market access organization. And what do we need here? And there's a beautiful vision document which is published by Medical Affairs Professional Society, which clearly states that medical affairs will be a strategic leader. See here, which is at the center of clinical development and commercialization. So internally, it is a bridge between clinical development and commercialization. And externally, we cater to all these four P's, addressing unmet patients. First P is our patients. Second P is our payers, government or private, insurance. Third P is our policymakers, and fourth P is our providers, healthcare providers. And this is purely to improve ultimately the patient outcomes. Now, when we have to achieve this, okay, we have seen that apart from qualification, there is a training which is very important, and there are skills. Like Amay was talking about digital, AI, artificial intelligence, and all. And we definitely have to have these complementary skill sets. Okay. And this is, and when you look at this graph, the first diagram, okay, none means in addition to your MD, do you need anything? So 28% of respondents say that, okay, your MD qualification is good enough to grow or develop, get into the pharmaceutical industry. While having additional qualification, MSc pharmaceutical medicine or PhD in pharmaceutical formulations or many other areas, sometimes industry apprenticeship. Okay. And I'll talk about that in my subsequent slide. In certain fields, we have DM, like I did DM in clinical pharmacology. Some people do MPH, public health, MBA. Okay. So all these are complementary training certification courses which add value. Okay. Uh, and this is very important for us to know. And most of the times when I am reached by many young minds, they start asking me, sir, shall I do MBA? Shall I go for DM or shall I just join industry after MBA? So my simple advice to all of them is that no qualification, no expertise, skill set goes waste. Okay. If you have passion and you don't have any time constraint. I do understand many times it is because of time constraint. You are ambitious, you want to start earning, you want to start uh, getting into the corporate world. Okay. But if you have passion and time, my suggestion would be it's always good to strengthen your base. Yeah. Because once you join industry, you may get opportunities to upskill yourself, but you will never get opportunities to upgrade your qualification. I don't mean that you will never ever get it, but you do not have that enthusiasm once you join industry there, because there are so many things on your plate and you don't get time to do all that thing. So it's always better that you get required qualification certifications, okay, preferably before joining industry. If not, at least in parallel to your early days in the industry. Yeah. And this is what actually the respondents had also said, especially the most important question about MBA. So definitely MBA helps, but there are differences of opinion. Some people say you should do MBA after you join the industry because you get some background understanding of pharma, and then what you learn in MBA, you'll be able to apply it better rather than doing it during your medical post graduation because you are completely new to industry. You may not have correlation with the job requirements. So that's the reason there are two schools of thought, but I support the thought process of doing it after you join industry so that you have better application of what you are learning during MBA. Yeah. This second graph in the same survey talks about why people join farm. And this is very important. So there are people who say that, okay, I joined because of insurance benefits, annual bonus that I get, paid time off. You see, most of the benefits are related to your economic component and your quality of life. Okay. But on the right hand side, what you see is reasons for seeking jobs. It's better work life balance. Some people have aversion to clinical practice. Okay. People think you are get better paid in the pharmaceutical than in academia. Okay, and there are many other reasons. So see, again, these are all surveys. There's nothing right or wrong here. These are all perceptions, and they could be bad because these surveys of those who join industry, and definitely they had these biases and they had these strong reasons because of which they moved to pharmaceutical roles. Okay, and this is another important question which I always get. So, how much will I get paid if I completely join after MD versus if I join after DM? And I never give answer to this question. And we cannot answer this question. Qualification cannot be weighed with the compensation. You cannot say if I do DM, I'll get 3 lakhs higher package versus if I'm just MD. No, there are many intangible benefits that you get which you cannot monetize. It's not like cost benefit analysis that you can put value to every qualification, every skill set. There's something called passion, which drives everything. So even with the highest qualification, if you do not apply your knowledge, your skills, you will not grow. Versus even with average qualification, if you are very good at applying it, what you learn, I think that person will have different and better career graph. So it's not all these technical things that determine your performance, your growth, and indirectly your compensation. Is the passion, is the your ability to apply your knowledge and experience, what you learn in MD or DM or in any certification courses to your job. If you're not applying it to your job, then your qualification is as good as not there. So don't let your qualification sit on paper. Apply it to real world job practice. Yeah. And this is the most important message. Okay. You when you go for interactions, like Amay also spoke about it, I'll not ask person or select person purely based on whether he has AI certification or not. Or someone who said that, okay, I have so many followers, I have so many likes. Your foundation is going to be the key determinant. And these are all like cherries on the top. But don't forget your cake has to be the best quality cake. You cannot have average cake and the best quality cherries. Okay. Now, how do you become future ready for medical roles? Okay. And we have seen significant transformation happening. Medical affairs focusing purely on the drug performance to now patient outcome to becoming more health centric. When I say health system centric, we are trying to achieve impact not only on individual patient but overall on healthcare structure. And to achieve this impact, definitely we need to have skill set. And my guidance, I think I have a lot of interns who join Pfizer at regular interval. And I keep guiding everyone that do not start preparing for your pharma role after you pass out your MD. Start it from day one of your MD. Okay. And there are the skill set that you should be aware. Omni-channel. We all are now prey to digital. Okay. We cannot survive without digital. And the same thing is with SCPs and in many stakeholders also. So we have to know omni-channel engagement. It is no more marketing or commercial domain. And if you see even my role profile, in addition to my responsibility to therapy area, I am also heading digital for medical organization. And I'll talk in short about what exactly it entails. Okay. External partnership. We as medical affairs colleagues, we have to expand our domain beyond routine stakeholders. And that's the reason we need to have very good communication skill. We need to have very good knowledge of the healthcare, not just product knowledge or science, overall healthcare, business acumen. This is, I would say, quintessential to have. And definitely evidence generation, your clinical research, statistics, real world has to be there. Then there are radical enhancements which are required. All these were exponential. Now, what are radical enhancements? Your technological expertise. Like I spoke about AI, generative AI is becoming a big boon for us. Beyond the pill mindset. Like I said, from product to healthcare system. There are behavioral skills. How do you become agile, adaptive? Okay. All these skills will make you future ready. And you have to keep learning and growing. And this graph also tells about how the value creation areas for medical colleagues translates into their capability requirement. Right from being strategic to operational excellence to effective planner, which includes project management, innovation, talent strategy. Okay. And these are the foundation competencies which are required. Okay. Business acumen, needless to say, communication. Most of the time, we as medical professionals, we always undermine the importance of communication skill, which includes both your fluency in English as well as your negotiation, your articulation, your analytical thinking, apart from your other technical expertise, which I mentioned. Yeah. Now let's understand. Once you have built your strong foundation, okay, as medical or pharmaceutical physician, now how do you expand this? So there's a halo effect which happens. And this halo is purely because of these two things. One, your personal branding, because you are your own brand. And most of the times, I feel that we, being medical colleagues, we always shy away from branding ourselves. We feel it is like tooting your own horns. It's not wrong. You have to toot your own horns sometimes, but don't overdo it. And that's the reason I'm going to give you some tips about how do you build your personal brand. And this is a beautiful statement which was given by Jeff Bezos, who is the founder of Amazon. He once said that branding is what people say about you when you are not in the room. It could be a faculty having discussion about the resident. Okay, there are 610 MD pharmacology residents. Or it could be the leadership team having discussion in the pharmaceutical company. There are so many medical affairs colleagues, pharmaceutical physicians. And I'm sure, like you would be aware, there are these talent discussions which happen in the boardrooms, okay, where leadership team discuss about different talents, not only within your team but across the teams. So, what people talk about you, say about you when you are not in that room, because sometimes when you are in front of them or you are with them, people will always talk good things about you. That does matter, but what matters the most is when what they talk when you are not around. And this is what we need to build. Build your personal brand so that people always have the highest regards and they become your strong advocates. Now, how do you do it? So there are three mechanisms of doing it. One is limiting to what I do. Okay, so you just focus on what you are doing. Okay, I'm pharmaceutical physician, I'm medical affairs colleague, I'm only good at doing the scientific communication with the SCPs, gathering insights, giving inputs to the marketing for the brand strategy. That's all. That's all I'm supposed to do. Then your brand is limited. It is even smaller than your employer's brand. Yeah. Second approach, some colleagues they go a step ahead and they have multi-dimensional approach. They focus on where I am engaged. So from what I do to where I am engaged. Where you talk about your personal network, okay, your business network. They are two different but overlapping areas. Then what was your passion? Okay, your purpose, your industry, not just your organization, but you have to be well connected with the industry and you should know the trends of the industry. And this is what I just spoke some time back. And your employer's brand. For example, I come from Pfizer, so I should be fully aware what Pfizer's values, ethos is, and do I live those ethos and values and attributes? And those two have to be in sync. My personal values and my organization values, they have to be in sync. And the most ideal and aspirational way of building your personal brand is being an authentic individual, who I am. So you see the transition from what I do to where I am engaged to who I am. And that who I am is defined by your vulnerabilities, your values. Okay. And it's not wrong to showcase your vulnerability, but you should know to do it in moderation, to do it in front of the right colleagues, right stakeholders, and do it with grace and respect, self respect. So that's the reason you should be aware of your scars, your fears, your struggles, your feelings, your questions, your hopes, your aspirations, your belief system. And you cannot be significantly different from this. Sometimes we see people have two faces. With smaller circle, they have completely different aura and personality. And at workplace, they are completely different person. Sometimes roles demand it, but there should not be complete separation between the two because your authenticity should override the larger area. The commonality should be driven by your authenticity, which stems from what's our upbringing, what's my own value system. Okay. And that's the reason your personal brand has to be in sync with who I am. Do not try to showcase what you are not. Okay. And that's the reason I said you have to start with the foundation. Otherwise, it's very difficult to sustain. Some people succeed in doing that. But then, as I keep saying, it is not sustainable. Yeah. Now, this is something which I had read in multiple articles. And then in one of the internal meetings, I was invited to talk about personal branding. Our HR team had invited me. So then I coined this term called Picasso, where I had read somewhere that you as a company, who is your biggest client? And your biggest client is yourself. So when you as a company are talking to the client, what will you do? So when someone has company, what do? They go and talk about their organization, their company to other stakeholders to make their brand known. So how do you make you as a brand known to others? So I just listed this here. So first is branding is the art of becoming knowable. And this is the most important thing. I see many times some interns they come, or even when I reflect on my own days, many times some students they are more introvert. They will not talk to many colleagues, they will not talk to faculty, they will not talk beyond certain circle or friend groups. Okay. So you have to be knowable. People should know you very well. And that will only happen when you open up and talk to everyone around you. You should be likable. Okay, likable doesn't mean that you go and just tell people, hey, you like me, I do this and no bratting. Okay, but let them know in a subtle way what are your likes, what are your dislikes. And when people see genuinity in you, they will definitely like you and love you. Okay, and third most important is you should be trustable. As I keep saying, authenticity stems from you being trustworthy. Yeah. So how do you achieve this? The first piece stands for you being the publicist. You see, every company has their own publicity model. So how do you build and maintain your connections? And that's where you need to have your art of storytelling. I'll show you the resources at the end of my slide. I have given some books which I have personally read, and I have benefited personally a lot from those, and I've been applying them in a lot of my talks. Okay, so there are different types of storytelling. The one which is important for personal branding is your connection story and your success story, among many other types of storytelling. And those who like to learn more about the storytelling, I would say that I'm ardent Steve Jobs fan. So none of my presentations go without quoting Steve Jobs. Okay. So you listen to Steve Jobs, especially the way he used to present in Worldwide Web Developers Conference, WWDC. And I watched a lot of his clips on YouTube. The way he used to deliver, the way he used to launch products. Okay. The way he used to handle the negativity around his brand. Okay. That's an art of storytelling. So please build your own connections and build this acumen of storytelling. That's very important. Second I is you have to be like an intern. You all remember when we were doing internship, do we exercise our choices so much? No. Whatever our senior residents, our faculty tell us to do, we say, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I will do it. So you have to be that intern. When you do this, I'm not saying keep your self-respect yourself. The intent here is you encash every opportunity that comes your way, whether it is any project which is assigned to you, whether it is any role, stage, responsibility given to you, you just say yes to it. And that builds your credibility. So having that intern kind of attitude helps build your personal brand. You being the CEO. So you have to be that big cheese, head onco, the final decision maker. You cannot leave the decision making about you, yourself, your career to anyone else. Get insights from everyone. But you be accountable for the decision that you take. Just like the CEO of any organization. So you have to be the CEO of yourself. Yeah. Next is the assistant. So you see, there are many assistants who keep things in place for the CEO. Okay, like from managing the calendar, managing the appointment, managing the your public relations. So you will not have anyone doing it for you. Like you want to post something on LinkedIn about your achievements. Who is going to do it? You. So you have to be your own assistant. You cannot rely on someone else to do it for you. Okay. And you'll see those who follow me on LinkedIn, they'll see there are posts which I put, original posts. Again, I'm not the fan who will put any repost or who will put something, okay, what are the learnings from this movie? What are the learnings from this? And so I avoid doing all that. But something which is original, something which you presented, something which you achieved, you have to ensure that you quickly post it on LinkedIn. And that I cannot rely on my team members or I cannot rely on someone else. I have to do it myself. That's the reason you need to be your own assistant. You have to make sure that things are in place for you. You calendarize, you strategically plan your events. Yeah. Next S is your sales. You have to talk to others. What do sales colleagues do? They go and talk about the product to other stakeholders. And that's where your elevator pitch. Have you crafted your own elevator pitch? And I assume most of you know what is elevator pitch. It is like 2 minutes short pitch if we meet someone. It happens with most of us when we are in the elevator of a multi-story building. So it takes a couple of minutes to go from ground floor to the top floor. And sometimes you just bump into the CEO of the company. So how do you strike the conversation? How do you tell him or her about who Santosh is? And that's the elevator pitch. In 2 minutes, you talk about what you have done, what you are doing, and what are your aspirations in 2 minutes. And that's the reason you have to keep your elevator pitch ready. In most of the interviews, we start with asking, okay, tell me about something about you. And then I have seen 60 to 70% times colleagues give complete 10-minute narrative about what have they done from right from their school days to college days to early career. Don't do that. Start with just 2 minute elevator pitch and leave the forum for the interviewers to ask further questions. Otherwise, you'll run out of ideas, you'll run out of examples if you tell everything in the first go. Yeah. So please, whenever you go for any interactions, always start with an elevator pitch, take a pause, let the interviewer ask you further questions, and then slowly you tell about your further achievements in detail. Otherwise, it becomes repetitive because then you, in over enthusiasm, you gave all 10 success stories you had in your mind. And then when interviewer starts asking questions, you start repeating those success stories. It doesn't leave good impression. Yeah. That's the reason this is very important part of your personal branding. And the most important part is how you brand during the interview. Yeah. And last but most important so is your social media manager. You have to manage your social media, whether it is LinkedIn, whether it is Facebook, whether it is any other portal, Twitter, you have to be on top of it. We have to be abreast with what's happening, what's trending. You cannot be like, "Hey, I'm not there on Instagram, I'm not there on so and so portal, I'm not there in this social media account." You have to be there, but don't become addicted to it. I I'm very much less visible on Facebook, but I'm there. Instagram, I hardly post anything, but I'm there just to know what's trending, what's happening. LinkedIn, yes, I'm there quite often. So you need to pick and choose. Otherwise, social media becomes a deterrent. And you all have seen it takes away so much of time. So you should not get addicted to the social media. Be there just to know what's happening, but don't fall into the trap of the social media.
Dr. Taur, sorry for
Yeah.
disturbing. You have about 3 minutes to conclude so that we leave a lot of time for the people to ask more
Yes.
questions.
And that's my
It's,
last
it's going
section.
very well. Please go ahead. It's very nice. Go
Thank you
ahead.
so much for reminding. Yeah. So this is my last section about networking. And I mentioned at the beginning of my talk, it's not just networking, it's networking for growth. And we call it net growing. Okay. So it's not how many people you know, but it's how many people know you. Many times we just go in conferences, introduce ourselves and come back. And we said, okay, I met these people, I met so and so people. You know them, but do they know you? And that's most important part of your business networking. And these are the four relationships that you need to succeed. One, having a coach. Coach is more like a short-term focus where you have certain skill or performance question issue and you want to sort it. Like most of the players have their own coaches who will focus on their improvement area. Mentors, they are more long-term, positive relation based for holistic development. You have to have mentors who will guide you. Sponsors are the ones who will support you, directly vouch for your activities and then give you those opportunities, breaks. And advocates, they may not be direct benefactor, but they are the mouthpiece. And they are the people who, in your absence, will talk good things about you. So you need to have these four relations and define who is in which bucket. Okay. You need to have this strategic career visibility, internship. Most of the medical colleges this have become quite regular with regard to internship. But I do not see still many other medical colleges sending their MD pharmacology residents or DM residents for industry internship. Please take this up because this really opens a lot of avenues during your MD time or DM time to know what's happening. Okay. Networking at industry events. There are a lot of conferences which are happening. Planning long-term positioning and defining your career goals and accordingly defining your strategic career visibility approaches really adds value. Okay. And don't overdo it. Unlike this fish here. Okay. And there are different partnership which industry also has with a lot of medical universities, lot of the pharmacy university. And I have just quoted some of these examples here. So do ensure that you take advantage of couple of such type of public-private partnership or industry academia partnerships. Okay. Now, last part about how do you build your digital profile. You have to have your profile which is optimized to your requirement. Photo with headline and with achievements. You need to have your content sharing frequency. Your views, your insights, your milestone you need to post. And then you should have your connection strategies. Your personalized messages, joining some groups that really helps you build further your digital profile. Okay. And then if you do not have that profile, then you have serious identity crisis if you don't build your digital profile in today's world. Yeah. And my message is that you have to have your own ikigai. What drives you? What's your passion, mission, what's your profession, and what's your vocation? And they all have to have overlapping areas. Yeah. These are the resources that I would suggest. Okay. I have read the two books on the left hand side. The third on the right hand side, I have not personally read, but I got good reviews about it. So I thought it would be good read for you all. Okay. Because I heard some of you asking questions about digital and also I just put this resource also, which I had done during my tenure at Pfizer. So you have to focus on hybrid job application, upskill yourself, keep in mind your Picasso model to build your authentic personal branding. Focus on your professional relationship that I mentioned about. Set personal goals, reflect on your networking, explore new connections, and continue to receive feedback. And that helps you to get better and better professional. Thank you so much for your patient listening. And I'm eager to have a lot of thought-provoking questions from the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Santosh, for such an enlightening talk on a topic which actually I thought is absolutely naive and new to me as an academician. But honestly speaking, I was so much engaged in a topic that I forgot I am a moderator and I should stop in between and tell you that the time is limited. Uh, I think building your own brand is something very new, exciting, and very, very challenging. and in this competitive world of pharmaceuticals, but this sets you apart and opens new opportunities and establishes you as a thought leader. But you really nicely spoke that first of all, the foundation of the student has to be really strong before we actually dream for such projects. And secondly, of course, we have to be passionate about it. And I like your Picasso mnemonics for personal branding. But I think we will be having a lot of questions from our budding pharmacologists. One is what are the best ways for an MD pharmacology postgraduate to build a strong brand on LinkedIn?
What are the?
What are the best ways for an MD pharmacology postgraduate to build a strong brand on LinkedIn?
Okay. So it starts with, and I think I just showed in my second last slide. First, you need to create very good profile on LinkedIn. Okay. We always shy away from putting our photographs, but it really gives a lot of trust to the person who is going to network or connect with you on LinkedIn. So always have photograph in your profile. Be very succinct in giving the headline to your profile. Okay. And do fill all the fields which are there. It talks about your skill, it talks about your achievement, your qualification. Do ensure to fill all those fields. Then comes the next important part is your content frequency. Okay, you have to be active there, not just giving likes and support and other reaction, but also there's a lot of groups where they post certain topics for the discussion. So ensure that you contribute to those discussions. You ask thought-provoking questions, even if you may not have comments, but ask right questions, and that also makes you stand out. Okay. Next important is whatever small achievements you have, like you went for some conference, you presented paper, you presented poster, you had good interaction somewhere. Do post your experiences on LinkedIn. You received some award, please post it there. And this is how I think you start strengthening your portfolio on LinkedIn. Yeah. And be very
Thank you very
purposeful
much.
in networking. Because
Yeah.
it's an ocean, LinkedIn. But you should select who you are networking with on LinkedIn
Yeah.
platform. Yeah.
So you said like it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. So it is in that perspective, one question, how can blogs, podcasts, webinars, or online lectures help build a personal brand for a pharmacologist?
Yeah. So I think we see a lot of podcasts being relayed, and this is one way of not only being like strengthening your leadership beyond your organization to a larger universe. It could be universe of medical institution, it could be universe of industry or healthcare overall. Podcasts have become the way forward because they are small nuggets. People do listen to them. But again, what I see now happening mushrooming. On every
Yeah.
platform, you see so many podcasts. So you have to be selective about which podcast you choose. Okay. And what type of message you deliver. How you use those few minutes. Podcast may range from 5 minutes to even 15 minutes. Okay. The duration of podcast is very important and crisp delivery of messages is super important when you are engaging on such type of platform to build your personal brand. Blogs is a good way. Like I mentioned, it really shows about your personality, your inquisitiveness, because sometimes we also learn about some colleagues from not what they answer, but from what they ask. So sometimes questions become your own personal branding
Mhm.
tool. So ask the right questions.
Dr. Taur
One,
and Dr. Seema, if you're okay, can I add something to what you just
definitely.
said?
Sure, sir. Sure,
Yeah.
sir. Sure.
So thanks, Dr. Taur. So adding to just the same question, what Dr. Taur said, responded, it's very important when it comes to personal branding and blogging, what they said, since most of the people here are all with MD pharmacology and at zero you start at the industry. So quoting any of this may not, because it's just a visual experience, what you have, nothing hands in experience. Even if you see some of the biggest people talking as well, it is just hearing something. So you are at zero when you start with. So most important thing, what is there, as Dr. Taud presented in his presentation, it's very much important that you remain alert on what is the most relevant thing happening in the industry at that minute. So it's also important in terms of reaching out to relevant people and ensuring that they remain connected with you in any platform, whether it's LinkedIn or Jobin. There are many platforms. And India is no more a platform for Indian world. When we talk about India, Taur and many others know it very well. We talk about APAC. We don't talk about India anymore. So India is an expanded place where most of the people in India are now hired to take care of things over and above India. They stay in India and they handle many other countries in Asia Pac, Europe, Eurasia, Middle East. Most of these places are handled from these places. So when you look at podcasts, blogs, try to understand the backgrounds of what is something happening rather than being very specific and typing blogs on medical affairs, blogs on clinical development. You should try to understand what's happening in the overall pharmaceutical industry. And you cannot be you cannot be separated from commercial part of the roles whenever you say, because it's not working like a department as it works in any other places. It's not independent. So thanks, Dr. Tour. Back to you. Ma'am, back to you for more questions.
Yeah, so one point from my side, like you said about the internship program during the MD post-graduation, I think that is very, very important aspect. We really want to push our budding pharmacologists into their own branding system. So the training skill at that level, because otherwise they will start from minus and zero. So they should be sensitized actually to that aspect of pharma industry so that they really can have a good exposure and a good foundation. What do you say about that, sir?
I think I would say this is must to have. And that's what I feel something sad about, that many colleges do not send their residents for such internship programs. I do understand there would be many challenges with regard to geographic availability of such type of organizations. To you may have a lot of workload in your own department, but we need to also understand there are multiple career opportunities in front of these MD residents. Okay, unless they explore, see they are in academics, they don't know academic side of the career. Unless they go to pharma to do this internship, they will not get sensitized to what's happening. And I've seen many cases where then people have switched their choices both ways. After coming to industry, they realize this is not my cup of tea. Let me go back to academia. And also, I've seen that after being in academia, they realize now I think I did internship and I really like that, and they change their mind to be in industry. Okay, so you have to know who is who and what's happening in this field so that it works in two ways. One, you build your network. In fact, I remember that couple of my hirings were through these internship programs only. Colleagues who had worked as an intern with me, and they worked so well that when they passed out and they approached, I have already had that baseline in my mind. This person had done fantastic job. So that really gives you opportunity, like that brand internship help that colleague to build that brand. And then definitely network and to know also within industry there are so many avenues. So even if you are doing internship in one function, we request them to connect with leaders from other function, so you know what is happening in that function and is that function your career choice. So these are the 2 3 benefits that you get when you do internship. So please try to prioritize these 1 or 2 months activities, but really
Yes.
boosting your confidence. Yeah.
Dr. Taur, we are on time, but I'll ask you one question as we went. I'm playing a devil's advocate. I'm speaking on behalf of MD
Yes.
pharmacologists now. I agree with your point that everybody should have a good experience in industry. What about me? If I am from a place where they are not privileged like the background you are from one of the best colleges in Mumbai. You are having an MD and DM. Most of my friends here are MD pharmacologists from, say, a peripheral place. They have gold medals, they're excellent, but they don't have experience to reach out to these industries, and absolutely zero chance of getting into a pharmaceutical company for even a 10-day experience for them. So what do we do about that?
Super. Thanks for asking that question. So one here would be industry going to these colleges. Okay. And many times we have seen that most of these colleges do have certain projects, and that's where the onus is on us as
You
academic
and me should do that.
faculty. Yeah, we should also do that, and academic partners should also invite industry. And like I gave example of, I'm adjunct faculty with KMC Manipal. So at regular interval, I go to KMC, I deliver these talks about industry topics, about career counseling and all that. So see, it's not that only students have to go to industry. Even colleges can take effort to invite these industry experts. That's the first exposure that we can have. Second, there
Sir,
are a lot of
NMC
clinical.
guidelines can be include NMC guidelines should include these things, and then I think there is no point in that. They have started
But
district
I,
residency program
ma'am,
for three
my
months.
candid
I think
submission
there
is
should
that
be.
we should not wait for NMC or someone to drive this, where it will have its own pace of executing it.
If they
So,
make
and
it
it's
a
completely in the
regulation, then it
purview
will
of,
be for every college.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a good point.
please go
But
ahead.
in absence of that, I think we should not just wait for it. We should initiate
I
such
know.
type of
Yeah.
opportunities for our residents. And second point is that even if you do not have, see, frankly speaking, when I did my MD and DM, I never did internship in pharma. But fortunately, I was in GS Medical College, so we had a lot of industry coming for a lot of trials, and that's how we built our relation with them. So what I would suggest is that don't worry, this is not the only criteria that fetches you the job in the industry. I give you few examples, but there are many examples where without prior exposure, so colleagues have joined and they have done fantastic. So you should at least be in touch with those who are going to industry, connect with the industry leaders, ask them what it is, what they need to prepare, and use those learnings in your MD to work on those skill sets.
True. And a quick suggestion also at the end of this would be for those people where do not have an exposure directly to the industry and are not privileged to it. Go and join up with any of your principal investigators who are doing some of these fantastic clinical trials. So you take an internship under them, you work under them for a month, you will get understanding about some of these terminologies, and this can also expose you towards some of these industrial experiences directly. Yeah, and I'm sure 1 month, 2 month, it's very much possible. And at least I can save this with the recent regulations. Tier 2, Tier 3 cities are all included in most of these clinical trials. When I say this, you can start there, and then you can start networking, try your best to reach out to people. You never know, some of the best people you can come in contact, and this is the least thing that can be done when you do not have a direct exposure to any of these industries.
I think that's a great
Back to
suggestion,
you.
Dr. Kiran.
Back to you,
Thank you
ma'am.
very much,
Yeah.
Dr. Santosh, for really the great session we had. And I must congratulate the entire organizing team for organizing such a great session on a topic which is very hot and relevant. And I think such continuous updates and training programs are the need of the hour in the pharma education. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you
Congratulations
so
to the
much for this.
organizing team. That's a great event. We should keep this happening.
Yeah.
And Dr. Taur, it's a great presentation. Thanks for your sharing your experience with the team here. So all the best for all the MD pharmacologists. Looking forward to have you all on board in the industry as you come up when you finish it. So congratulations, organization. Please continue this good work. Thanks.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And my last tip to everyone is that wish you all the best. Reach out whenever you are in doubt. And everyone here is super helpful. There are so many industry leaders. We are just a call away or a text away to help you all. So don't try to reach out.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Santosh sir. Thank you, Seema ma'am. Thank you, Kiran sir. I request Dr. Jitendra Singh, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, thanks a lot for all the speakers. It was really wonderful. Dr. Kiran Haridas, a very right way of putting things forward. We really appreciate it, sir. As far as like, yeah, I just wanted to just put up one point that recently NMC has already issued with the guidelines. This has been given in our postgraduate curriculum that, the MD student should be posted to some industry. In our last session, we had this big discussion with I think Dr. Dinesh Badyal sir also, who happens to be a part of that committee who drafted those NMC PG guidelines. But the only thing is, as Dr. Kiran has very rightly said, that everybody doesn't have the access to those companies, and even the HODs at times, including like yeah HODs and academics, at times they are also not that keen. So definitely this is something where we need to work on so that our students can get this exposure of industry. Let me tell you one thing: once they go and work in the industry, there are really high chances of the active conversion that they might be joining industry later also after once they complete their MD Pharmac. So on that note, thank you so much, all the speakers and the moderators, for a wonderful session. Thank you so much. Over to Reshma.
Thank you, sir. So with this, I would like to thank the speakers for today. Thank you very much. If Dr. Amay is, if you can, Dr. Amay, you're with us?
Yeah, Reshma, I'm there. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Dr. Chaitanya is also there. You can, we can have your cameras on. So today was a very fantastic session. Both the sessions were so power packed. Like Dr. Seema ma'am said, even I forgot that I'm, from the organizing side. I was so engrossed in the session. And then towards the end, we realized that we are running out of time. There were a lot of questions that, I think in the chat, which we couldn't, take care of today. So what we will do is we will share your email ID, sir, even Dr. Kiran sirs and Dr. Santosh sirs and Seema ma'ams, and maybe the students can directly write to you. They are also very active in the group, so they will post their questions there. You can answer them there. Also, this is for the audience. Dr. Santosh sir had shared his QR code for LinkedIn. Maybe you can reach out to sir over LinkedIn and get your queries sorted there also. Okay. With this, I would like to
Reshma,
deliver.
one last thing before you
Yes,
close. One
yes.
thing which I think I missed it, and it will be unfair if I don't say that. One thing is remain yet to be addressed, and you said you sent those questions to Amay and Taur to answer this. They are the brilliant people to answer this. Is AI, there have been good discussion. Is AI going to take up the job of people? To what extent, especially MD pharmacologists? Answer this question, and I'm keen to know this as well. We work extensively with AI in our organization. So I thought I'll keep this open up. I've seen a few questions on my LinkedIn already now, so I thought I'll put this up right now when we talk about this. Sorry. Thank you. Please go ahead.
This question is to be answered now, or
I mean, you can send this. This can't be answered here in a minute.
okay.
So you
Yeah.
can send it to the experts here or people who have spoken
Yes.
before as well, and take a collective opinion and share with your team. The answer is not going to be that easy, but
I'm
but
sure.
from my point of view, I can say it's not going to take up anybody's job. It's just going to make it easy and better, and life is going to be more colorful and beautiful with this AI coming up. In pharmaceutical industry, the one who is going to benefit the most is the one who is highly qualified, and most of the times highly qualified in most of these pharma industries are MD in pharmacology or the people with a clinical background. Thanks.
AI cannot be a supplement.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
a
going to
supplement. Very
be
well put, ma'am.
yeah.
Yes.
It can never be a substitute.
Thank you.
No, not for medical field. That's what I can say. It can be
And
substitute
that is
for
what I'm
multiple
saying.
other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
true,
Yeah, but not for
true,
medical.
true.
Yes.
Thanks.
Wow, such a wonderful ending. We have a food for thought, and then we're going to continuously go on thinking, and I'm sure we're going to do a lot of research on this topic. With this, it's my pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks. I would like to thank both our speakers for today, Dr. Amay Mane and Dr. Santosh Taur. Thank you for such an insightful discussion and presentation. It was truly wonderful. I would also like to thank our moderators for the previous session as well, Dr. Chaitanya Bargave and Dr. Jyoti Kaushal. And for this session, Dr. Seema Gupta and Dr. Kiran Haridas. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know it can be hard on a Saturday evening, but thank you very much. Last but not the least, I would like to thank our audience for being so interactive, so excited throughout the session, asking your questions, because it is you who keeps us going. I would like to thank Major Dr. Jitendra Singh, who's been our support continuously throughout for creating and curating this program, and Dr. CM Kamal, who's the backbone of this program, and our NPT overall for this initiative. Thank you, one and all. I will see you all next Saturday.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, and all the best.
Thank you all. My AI team.